So what I wanted to do in this video was respond to an article that I saw on the Montreal Gazette. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the moment I saw this piece and I read the title, I was kind of questioning, and I was like, really? What do you mean? What are you talking about, Stu Cowan? Because today we're referring to a piece from October 3rd, so from about a week ago, I'm still on vacation here, so I'm pre-recording videos, but Stu Cowan went out there and published this piece talking about how the Montreal Canadiens' gamble on Josh Roy is paying off. Forward taken in the 5th round of the NHL Draft in 2021, has impressed Montreal head coach Martin St. Louis both with and without the puck. Now, the article's a good read. It's got a lot of good quotes, a lot of interesting ideas, but I wanted to respond to that idea at the beginning of the video about whether or not Josh Roy was really a gamble for the Montreal Canadiens. Because if you were to ask me, I think, just in my own humble Canadiens fan opinion, even as a person that was kind of keeping up to date with the 2021 draft prospects, Josh Roy definitely was a lot lower in the draft than he probably should have been. He was a first overall pick in the QMJHL in 2019. St. John Sea Dogs, he played very well in the Quebec Junior Leagues, and he had a lot of hype heading into 2019. Even as the years went on, I do remember there being some buzz around Josh Roy potentially being a first-round, top 10 overall caliber NHL prospect, because as the first overall QMJHL guy who had had a pretty good resume heading into the Q, there was a lot to like there. Unfortunately for Roy, there were some issues with the St. John Sea Dogs and his development. He didn't really progress there properly. He went over to Sherbrooke and was instead drafted out of that organization. His point production wasn't bad. I mean, 18 points in 20 games played in his new team. There was a little bit of concern because of the instability there. Oh yeah, Josh Roy couldn't mesh on St. John, he had to get moved, and now he's there, and his production isn't really too much better. People were questioning his work ethic, his engagement, whether or not his pace on and off the puck would get any better as he progressed to higher levels of play. So Roy went from a guy with reasonable top 10 projectability in the NHL draft to a player that was ranked at the end of the draft season around the end of the second, start of the third, that kind of range. He was ranked 74th by Future Considerations, 46th by McKeen's, and was the 66th North American skater ranked by NHL Central Scouting. The fact is, Josh Roy was already a pretty good pickup for the Montreal Canadiens at 150th overall. So the idea that the Canadiens gambled, oh, it's a big risk to take this guy. No, I don't agree with that at all. What are you talking about? Josh Roy wasn't a gamble. Like, when I think of a draft gamble, I think of taking a guy a lot earlier than he should have been taken. I think about the Ottawa Senators taking Tyler Boucher in the top 10. I think about the Ottawa Senators taking Carter Yakemchuk in the top 10. I think about a lot of Ottawa Senators picks, unfortunately. And then there are a few other ones, like my Red Wings, going out there and taking Nate Danielson and Marco Kasper a little bit earlier than people thought they should have been drafted. Those, in my opinion, are gambles, because you're betting on the upside of more unknown and lesser valued talent in comparison to the safe options which would have been presented at that time as well. It would have been easy to just take the next consensus pick off the board instead of going for a big swing and a big reach. I don't think Montreal did that by taking Josh Roy, a first overall QMJHL pick and a potential projected second or third round guy, in the 5th round. I don't know, that's not a gamble. Maybe I'm just getting all caught up here in semantics, but Josh Roy, who had a lot of hype heading into the 2019, 2020, 2021 years, and who just fell off in his draft-eligible year, ended up being a Montreal Canadiens prospect, and the year after he was drafted, he posted up a 119-point season in the QMJHL and had 23 points in 11 playoff games. He was amazing. And then playing for Team Canada at the World Juniors 2 years in a row, even in the cancelled World Junior Tournament, he was going out there with like Connor Bedard and doing his thing, and he looked really strong. Now, Josh Roy is coming off of a 32-point in 41-game season with the Laval Rocket and 9 points in 23 games at the NHL level. Now, in the preseason, he has shown off very well, which is why Stu Cowan went out there and wrote this article about Josh Roy and the gamble paying off. Take a look at how the article opens up. Josh Roy and Connor Bedard still keep in touch. He texted me last year after I got my first game in the NHL and my first goal. The Canadiens, Waugh said during a recent training camp interview about Bedard. Waugh and Bedard were line mates when Team Canada won the World Junior Championship in 2023. Bedard led the tournament with 23 points in 7 games, while Waugh had 11 points. He was unreal, Bedard told reporters at the tournament in Halifax about Waugh's performance. He's one of the smartest players that I've got to play with. The article then goes over a lot of Waugh's struggles, how he was this highly touted QMJHL guy who eventually was drafted by the Canadiens, etc., etc. We just kind of did the song and dance in this video here. This is what Trevor Timmins went out there and said, Canadiens' former assistant GM, about Waugh after they drafted him. We see the skill that he has. He has natural scoring ability, and we think with our guidance he's going to be able to progress his game on and off the ice. We feel that he's going to be a late bloomer, and he's got natural ability. I think this summer, just really realizing what it takes to be a pro. And honestly, responding to that idea, late bloomer? I feel like that honestly might have been a bit pessimistic on Josh Waugh's part, because he went from a draft-eligible player to drafted, and within 2 seasons of being drafted, he was already in the Montreal Canadiens lineup in a limited role last season, and then 3 seasons after being drafted, he is now gonna start with the team. He's gonna be good enough to play. And to think, for a 5th-round guy, how is that a late bloomer? Nah, he is like right on track, if not actually superseding what most 5th-round picks end up doing. Talk about a guy with a crazy development path, right? Let's go out here to the bottom of the article where it talks about some of the strengths of Josh Waugh, courtesy of Martin St. Louis and the like. Josh Waugh's hockey sense is the strongest part of his game, and it allowed him to get by mostly on skill alone when he had 88 points in 42 games with the midget AAA Levy Chevaliers in 2018-19 before being the first overall pick in the QMJHL draft. He said the trade from St. John to Sherbrooke helped him. I think I just learned to focus on myself and work hard and never give up. I worked a lot in my body, and I think that helped me a lot. I saw the difference right away, and since then it's been pretty good. Now, that's good to hear too, considering that work ethic and engagement was one of the parts that Josh Waugh struggled with early on as a draft-eligible prospect. This is what St. Louis goes out there and says, that he's a very intelligent player. He's always ready for what's next, St. Louis said. He doesn't kill the play. He's playing the game. If it's time to chip in a puck, he'll do that. You can see he's got poise to buy a little time and hit the guy who's going to be free. He lets the play evolve. And I think that's such a great way of articulating what makes Josh Waugh so special, because obviously if you watch him, like, he's not skating by everybody like McDavid, he's not dangling the pants off of guys like Datsuk, he's not powering to the front of the net and making beautiful over-the-top kind of goals like Nathan MacKinnon does. He just kind of lets everything bleed. And he allows the play to build itself around him. He's very patient, and he's great at controlling the puck with pressure on him. He's honestly kind of like Yoel Armia in a way, but maybe a bit smarter and a lot more finesse-based. That's kind of what I've seen most out of Josh Waugh in this preseason, and veteran defenseman David Savard has also been impressed by him. I think he's more and more comfortable every game, Savard said. You see him making more plays, making better reads. He's still really young, but he's just making good plays out there. You want players like that on the ice. He's creating without giving you turnovers and stuff like this, which sometimes as a young guy is hard to do. I think he's really fitting and he's really into the system and he's playing well for us, Savard added, so it's good to see a young guy come in like this. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Montreal Canadiens and their development of Josh Waugh, and whether or not you agree that this gamble that the Canadiens took by drafting him in the 5th round, despite the fact that he was a projected 2nd or 3rd round guy who at one point had top 10 caliber draft status and a 1st overall QMJHL season to boot. Okay, maybe I'm just kind of putting the dagger a little bit too far in there to this idea, but thoughts in the comment section below about Josh Waugh and the way that he's developed. I, for one, am very, very proud of the guy, not just because he's a Montreal Canadiens prospect who happens to be playing for my second favorite team, but also because just seeing guys exhibit talent who have a lot of draft hype and then who eventually fizzle away, we want to see these guys bounce back and redeem themselves, right? That's always the best kind of story. Even in 2021, it's not just Josh Waugh, you also had guys like Aatu Räty, for example, going through that same kind of process. Although his fall was a little bit more dire, I would say, considering that he was a projected 1st overall pick. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Josh Waugh. Article, as always, will be linked in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.